Hey folks, this is Jason Lewis, the producer of the From the Shadows podcast. I just want to remind you about our website, fromtheshadowspodcast.com. We have a Facebook page. We would appreciate it if you like and follow. Also, join our discussion group on Facebook called After the Shadows. We have a Twitter feed. Please follow us on Twitter. It can be found with @podcast_from. Follow us on Instagram at From the Shadows Podcast. We have a YouTube channel. Go to the search bar at YouTube and put From the Shadows Podcast, and please subscribe to that channel. We are also on the Odyssey Radio Network, and we can be found there at odyssey1.com. We're still on the traditional podcatchers that everybody loves to listen to us on. We get a lot of feedback, so please rate the podcast and communicate with whether you're on Spotify, Stitcher, TuneIn, Apple Podcasts, Podbean, or Google Podcasts. We're there, and we appreciate it when you leave comments for us. We also have a Patreon page. It can be found at www.patreon.com/FromTheShadows. You can receive books, stickers, coffee mugs, and special content just for our Patreon subscribers. Check it out for yourself and see what packages that we have to offer. Well, that's all I have for you right now, folks, and thanks for being a part of the From the Shadows podcast family. So with that being said, let's get this episode started.
Well, Howler, so we're getting close to Christmas, man. How's things going out there with your shopping?
Well, I've been online, and I'm about to stop buying people things. I've just started giving them money because I hate to be that guy, but just because it means a lot to you to give that particular item to them, it doesn't necessarily mean they hold it in the same regard. Does that make sense? I've got things in my office, and you can't see my office because we don't have the video. But one of these days, maybe for your Patreon people, we'll do a video thing, and I'll show you. But I have gotten things in my office within 10 feet of me that either my grandpa or my mom or my dad gave me when I was 10, 11 years old. And I've still got them. I mean, I'm that guy, right? I used to have a box. I had listen to this, it's nuts. I had every letter, card, Valentine's card, love letter, if you would. I had every single thing that any chick had ever given me in a box until my wife found it and burnt it. But I'm that guy, right?
Listen, so, I am not admitting nor denying that I may have a similar story, but it's those records are permanently sealed.
But anyway, I had a hiccup this week over a guitar. I think I told you earlier today.
Oh yeah.
And I usually they do that Amazon, and kids, they do an Amazon list or whatever, and I'll pick a few things out and get them. But I hate to turn into bah humbug, but so what I ended up doing is I just started buying myself all the shit that I want instead of buying it all for them. I just buy it for myself now.
Okay, can't go wrong with that.
That's right. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. How about you guys? You get your shopping all done?
I'm gonna finish mine up this week, actually.
Well, listen, listen. I am so tired of delivering boxes that I don't care if anybody gets a present.
Hey, that's another reason why I stopped buying stuff, because I was ordering stuff up in the last week, and it kept telling me that the Postal Service cannot guarantee. And every time I'd buy something, I think of poor Grover out there packing all this stuff. And
I stopped today at 185 packages. And they sent somebody out to help me, and they took the last 30. My route's set up for 40. So you tell me how that goes.
Well, like everything else in the government, half-assed, I guess. They're as good as it gets, or whatever.
Well. So what's the best thing that you ever had given to you as a gift?
Well, the best or the biggest?
Well, aren't they the same?
No,
not necessarily. It could be different.
It's just like That's right. Just like, oh, that's right. I was going to say, just like
I tell you what,
sometimes.
yeah, exactly. That's what I was thinking. So why don't we just go with the biggest?
Yeah. I had and it's funny we're talking about this because obviously in the pre-show we talked a little bit. I had my brother tells me, now my brother at that time, this is 2003 or 4 maybe, I don't remember, because I had two little brothers with me. One of them called me one day and said, "Hey man, you want an RV?" And I said, "Do what?" And he goes, Nick over here, my brother worked at a factory where they assembled washing machine parts, like a Maytag is what it was. And he goes, Nick over here, blah, blah, blah. And I said, yeah. And he goes, well, his brother has got an RV up in St. Louis parked at their mom and dad's house, and his fortunes have changed, and he's got to get it out of there. The city's on him, and he's going to give it to us if we just, whoever can come up and get it. It uses a lot of gas, and he said he's not sure what kind of shape it's in, but we can have it if we go up there.
Oh, jeez. So he's just giving away.
Yeah, an RV.
This isn't like a Cousin Eddie situation, is it?
Yeah, well, it turns into something like that. So, and I don't know how we decided to do it that day, but I had my 17-year-old was in a car seat. So that tells you how long ago it was. My 17-year-old was in a car seat and couldn't talk. So I've got pictures. Because I'm a picture guy. I got pictures. Maybe I can send them to you, send them on Patreon. But anyway, I had my one brother, my Maytag brother, let's call him, car salesman, car dealer. And then our baby brother had just came back from Iraq. He was in still what they call terminal leave. So they give him, he was out of Iraq 7 or 8, 10 days, something like that. You know what I mean? So he's supposed to be getting his sleep acclimated and getting back to the world, right? Mm-hmm. And he makes the mistake of coming over, and we decide, hey, let's go to St. Louis and get this RV. Now, thank God we had him with us, because he had the nicest, the newest truck. He had a new Silverado 2500 HD, which will come into play later. So we throw the car seat in this pickup and we drive up to St. Louis. We're in a suburb of St. Louis. I don't remember not Chesterfield. It wasn't a nice suburb. So we're driving and we got the address, and I don't remember if we had it on a phone back then. Did we even have cell phones with GPSs or anything back then?
No,
I don't remember
think
how.
So.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So we're feeling our way into this neighborhood, and lo and behold, there is a giant crappy RV sitting in this driveway that was not big enough hardly for it, right? And we drive by, and my Iraqi brother says, "Dude, I ain't effing stopping." And I said, "How do you know that's the right one? I mean, that was awful junky." And he said, "Dude, first of all, they're giving it to you. Second of all, it's got an orange sticker on the window where the cops put on it. We are not even effing stopping." And there was a dude sitting out in the driveway as we went by. This RV is snaked in this driveway. It's a big old 78, 79, 80 something vintage Pace Arrow. And it's snaked in this little, this is a late 60s, early 70s split level neighborhood where the driveway was Pace Arrow long and about another third wide. But there's a dude sitting out there in a pair of cutoffs with no shirt, no shoes, and he's got a bucket of like tar and a spatula, and he's filling the cracks in this driveway. And it's hot. It's like July, August hot. And we drive around this thing, this block twice, trying to. My Maytag brother's going, "Dude, let's just stop and see." And my Iraqi brother's like, "Effing no. There is no effing way that I'm even getting out and you know what I mean? There's nothing for us out there." And my little baby's, he's in a car seat wanting more French fries. And so finally the third time around we pulled up there. And when I say this dude, remember I told you there's a dude with a spatula fixing the cracks in the driveway. He's tattooed from head to toe. And in those I'll have to pick up the pictures. I think I can probably pick it up on my laptop now because I took a picture of him. He's got some, looks like Mexican gang stuff, you know, those goth letters or whatever across his chest. And I don't remember what it said. Maybe it was his last name. So we get out. My Maytag brother starts talking to him and says, hey, we're here. Nick told us to come up and get this RV out of your driveway. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay. God, it's silent. I can't.
We're
deafening.
Hey, look,
you're hanging on every edge, right?
Yeah.
Well, I'm kind of cleaned up. I tell the story. Usually when I tell a story like around a bar or something, there's a lot of cuss words and a whole lot of other stuff. But anyhow, the guy is completely, oh, yeah, man, you guys, I'm glad you showed up. We've been trying to give this thing away for a month. And, well, does it start? Oh, yeah, I just got back from Sturgis. So it was right after Sturgis, August or something. He said, I just got back from Sturgis with it. And that's, where the bikers run. And he says, I had to put new tires on it. And the city's on me. And I'm on parole. And I can't be out here messing with these people. And I get to rapping with him a little bit. I said, what'd you go down for? And, he started talking to me. And we go back and forth. Finally, me and him recognize each other. I recognize him I said, dude, I know you from somewhere. And you know what he tells me?
What?
You're the motherfucker that took me to prison.
Oh, gosh.
And I hated to cuss like on the podcast like this, but I had to just give you. And I said, really? And he goes, yeah, you and Smitty, when I got sentenced, you guys, because I started back in the courthouse in the jail.
Oh, wait, okay.
Yes, I had started. This is 7, 8, 9 years earlier. You know what I mean?
So you just actually drove him to
yeah.
prison.
So
You're
what
not
they
the
would
guy
do
that
is
arrested him.
Right, no.
Okay.
So what happens is, in a courthouse situation, of course, there's a judge on here. They hand down these sentences, and you get 20 days or 20 years, whatever you get. Somebody physically, depending on, there's some people they take literally. I've been on some where when that elevator from the upstairs to the courthouse, when it opens in the downstairs, you have them in belly chains and leg irons, and you walk them straight through the booking, straight out to the car, and you take them straight. So, like, especially like capital punishment, murders, stuff like that, you'll take them. I mean, within 10, 15 minutes of getting the paperwork, you're driving them to prison, right? I mean, some of them are that way. And then some of them, they wait until we got to make a trip, so let's get 8 of them and take a van, right? So, but back at that time, they hadn't got a van where I was working, and you'd take 2 or 3 of them in the back of a Chevy Caprice. That's what he went to. I took him in the back of a Chevy Caprice to prison. And so anyway, he's cool with it, right? And that's why I ended up with a picture of him, because I said, dude, I don't want to take your picture after all these years. And I had this is back. I still got it. This Sony Mavic, which was a big old digital camera, right? And you take them on a 3.5-inch floppy, you get like 7 pictures or 8 pictures. So I just happen to have some digital pictures of this mess. So we have this little powwow. We get in this RV, and it's junk. It's junk. It's completely junk. But it does have new tires, but they're not good tires. They're 16-inch tires. But instead of putting a heavy duty like 10-ply 16-inch tire, they put the cheapo, almost like a 16-inch car tire on this thing. So we hit the key. It starts up. My brother says, my Iraqi brother saying, dude, let's leave it. This is his problem, and my other brother's like, nah, we'll take it. We'll take it down, home, and maybe we'll fix it up, or it had a 454 in it. So your gearheads, listen to this thing, had a big block Chevy in it. So he said, nothing else, we'll part it out or we'll do something with it. So we say, okay, we'll take it. So I leave my baby in a Silverado with one brother, and me and my other brother, co-pilot, we go to taking off. And the gas gauge don't work. Hardly nothing works. Oh, and this was what's the holiday at the end of the summer? Labor Day?
Labor Day. Yeah.
Labor Day. It's the Labor Day weekend. That's what it was. It was the Friday of Labor Day weekend. So there's cops everywhere. So not that matters, but I just don't want people I know stopping me in this hunk of junk. Does that make sense? Because I know a lot of cops, know a lot of troopers. I'm a trooper. I knew a lot of troopers. So I tell my brother, first thing we do, like every redneck, you got to drive to Walmart and get some gas and check the fluids. And I don't remember how much gas I got because I didn't want to fill it all the way because it's got like a 100-gallon tank. So I got 40, 50 bucks. I don't remember what I got, but it wasn't enough. You'll find out later in the story. I got a bunch of gas, but not enough. And we decided to take Highway 94, which was the old truck route, along the river. This is the best way for you guys who've been around like Cincinnati. You know how you can get up on the highway, or you can take the old highway that kind of parallels the river. Okay. Yeah. So I decided I was going to take the old truck route, which paralleled the river from St. Louis to Jeff City. And it's hilly and curvy, and I should have just manned up and got on the interstate and drove because I don't think it would have been faster, and it just probably would have been just successful. But we're driving up and down these hills and curbs. Every once in a while it'd backfire through the carburetor, and they had this big doghouse thing, like a van or something. So it's got the big doghouse cover right there between your feet. My brother's
that.
Yeah, you know what I mean? My brother's going to open it and jack with a choker or whatever while we're driving down. So every once in a while, instead of coughing up and just hearing it, then you got to feel it. It's like a concussion, like a flashbang going off about 6 feet from your head, every little bit. So this thing's choking and puking down this curvy. It's in the river hills. It's like you try to get up enough speed, you know what I mean? Because the next hill, whoa, it's downshifting and it starts stinking. And I'm like, you got to be kidding me. They got a tank full of shit back there. My brother says, yeah, he said sorry about that because they just come back from Sturgis, they couldn't dump it, So the more I drive this thing, the more it sloshes, it just starts stinking, right? It's just stinking. And it's every once in a while when it gets about 2/3 up there, buck jumps, that's a horse thing. It coughs and chokes its way up over the hill. And then once you get over the hill, woof, and the race is on again. Well, up around one of these hills, flop, 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 the right rear tire blows out of this thing.
Oh, no.
Yep. Blew. So I pull in this gravel road, and we didn't got no jack. Thank God I told my brother had a late model. It was at that time, it was like 2 years old Silverado. But he had 8-hole wheels. But he had a big jack. So we take his jack and lug wrench and stuff, and we're able to. But we've got no spare for this thing. So we're on this gravel road in the middle of nowhere, and with my brother's spare, which one of them ones where the jacks, when you got to put the jack things all together and you spin. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's not designed to lift an old Class A motorhome, but we got it going. We didn't have a spare. So Maytag brother says, this is what we do. Because the outside blew out. We flip the inside around like an outside dual, and we put it back on there. So we have one dual on the right side in the rear. Does that make sense? And we got it flipped to the out. So he said it'll drive okay because it's got the width right. Does that make sense? You wouldn't want to keep the inside dual. We'll flip it around and get the outside dual. So I said, okay. And we get her switched, and then I got to go down this gravel road a little bit to turn around. To get this big giant thing turned around because it wasn't the kind of gravel road you should take a Class A RV down. And as we're approaching the stop sign, I tell my brother, I said, hey, dude, get out there. I ain't going to smell this crap another 50 miles. And what I want you to do is you pull that, when I get turned around here, you pull that, open the chute, if you will, and we're going to dump it on the ditch side of this gravel road. Right?
Oh,
and
man.
we're out here in the middle of nowhere. And he opens it up, and I'm pulling forward, and he goes, nothing's coming out. And people that know RVs, I know some of you, I know growers, you know RVs a little bit. Sometimes they're not as fluid as they need to be. He said, nothing's coming. I said, well, just leave it like that. Get back in. So he gets back in. We get up the stop sign. I'm going to make a left-hand turn to go westbound on this highway. And I go to kick this thing out there, and it's whoa, whoa, whoa. And about halfway through the turn, it lets loose. And at the same time, it's letting loose. There's a car that's coming over the hill, you know, kind of a hill curve.
Oh,
and it's
no.
It's an unmarked state trooper.
Oh, gosh.
On the holiday weekend, they make all these office guys work the holiday. You know what I mean? They got to either work at that time. You had to work. If you had a take-home car, you had to work the holidays, and that's how you had to work one day a month in the holidays. Or they had some goofy formula, and it's a lieutenant. It's a headquarters lieutenant that I know fairly good. Mm-hmm. And he goes by, you know, head to head like we were like Maverick and Goose spinning our heads around. Where'd he go? Where'd he go? As this thing's got the you know, the fountain of youth blowing out the side. We look like the honey wagon going out there on the back 40. And I said, he stole it. And of course, my little brother's behind us still, you know. He didn't even pull out yet. He's going to wait. He's not going to get all this on his truck. So, hey, that trooper didn't even pull over, didn't stop. But I don't know that yet because we go over the hill that he went over. You know what I mean? So we're trying to say, okay, is he turning around yet? Is he coming? So we're goosenecking for about 3, 4, 5, just a few miles there. We're goosenecking around, and then about that time, the right rear tire that we flipped around, it'd give up the ghost and blew out.
Oh no!
Yes. So now we've had 50 gallons of biker crap, you know, or however many gallons spread out for a quarter mile, and we can't even get away because the freaking getaway RV broke down.
That's horrible. That is really horrible.
So but now we don't even have a gravel road to pull over. We're on this thing, you know, we're on the side of the road. So we got this thing down in the ditch, and same little brother. Thank God he didn't put the jack and everything away. He just threw it in the bed of his truck. We ain't even got a spare. So he decides we're going to take the spare. My Maytag brother says, well, your 8-hole spare on this pickup will work. And he said, no way. He said, yep. He said, so we take this, got to get underneath his truck and drop the spare under the bed. You know how it works on them late models.
Oh, yeah.
And thank goodness GM on an expensive truck like that had a big old 10-ply Firestone, a man's tire. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah.
And we go to, when we got to take his jack apparatus, when we try to jack this RV up in the ditch, well, the jack won't go high enough to get this man tire on it. So then we got to get some rocks and junk and sticks out of the ditch and block it up so we can let the jack down so we can put a piece of wood underneath it to get a little more height to jack it up a little more. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We finally get it up and put this man spare on this thing. But it's a regular single rear wheel and tire on this dually thing. So it's cattywampus. You know, it's not right.
Mm-hmm.
But we got to get out of Dodge because we got this DNR violation trailing us. I mean, this thing's still dripping. So we got this wheel and tire lug nut combination on there and fired it up, and we're off to the races there, you know, and headed down the crooked, curvy road. Finally, it straightens out down around Wainwright, Tebbets, Missouri. Don't mean anything to you guys, but it's a nice straight road. So we think we're home free. Well, by this time, a friend of mine, we were going to take it south of the river. Doesn't mean anything to you guys, but we had about 20 miles to go where I wanted to take it. But we had decided we were going to have to cut our losses. Danny, we had this buddy had a junkyard. He's still my buddy. I talked to him the other day. He has a junkyard on the north side of the river. We're about 8-9 miles from it, cross country. And my brother said, dude, we got to get this over Danny's and just dump it. I mean, there ain't no way if there ain't no way we're going to drive through town, because we're going to have to drive through fairly the capital city, because we got to go to the south side of the river. We're on the north side of the river. And my brother said, dude, it's holiday weekend. There ain't no way we should take this. And he's usually ready to go. He's riding shotgun with him. He's the doghouse carburetor worker, He said, well, let's just take it over Danny's and wait. At the middle of the night, we'll cross the river with it or something, but not now. So I take a right to get on this blacktop road, go right past my grandma's house, Double Hay. And at the first hill, this thing started buck jumping and wouldn't stop and wouldn't stop and wouldn't stop and wouldn't stop. And kaploof, now we're out of gas.
Oh, my goodness.
Now, the only savior was when I say we're out of gas, we're pulling in front of a guy's house that his brother, I went to high school with, his brother, I was very close to. And they're dirt bike guys, and they got one of them big 16, 18-foot trailers with like 5 or 6 motorcycles, and they got a rack in the front full of those big plastic ATV gas cans. You know what I'm talking about? You ATV guys know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
So I go up and knock on the door, and nobody's answering the door. I knock on the door, nobody's answering the door. So my one brother says, F it, man. Let's just take some of this gas, put it in there. So I took a 20 out of my wallet and put it in his mailbox. Hopefully his mail carrier didn't take it. So we go to get this big can of gas. My other brother, he's still in the Silverado, because he didn't hardly help us at all, because he kept putting the window down saying, I told you to leave it in the freaking driveway. I told you not to take it. I told you, you know what I mean? And he puts down the window and he goes, hey, that's 2-stroke, right? It says mix right on that thing. Maytag bro says it'll run. It just might smoke. He dumps 5 gallons of 2-stroke, because we only got about 6-8 miles to go. We dumps 5 gallons of 2-stroke gas in this old Chevy. We get her fired up, and we look like a kamikaze that took 52 hits to the gas tank or something for the next 6 miles. You didn't know if we were on fire or what. And we got her over to junkyard. So we backed into Danny's junkyard. And of course, my little brother, he wants his spare tire off that thing. It needs to be back underneath the Silverado. So we got to block this thing up and take his spare tire out. We get in the truck, and we wasted all day sweating, tired. We drive home, and about maybe a month or so later, my big brother says, hey, Earl says, thanks for that big block. And I said, do what? And he goes, yeah, Danny said y'all brought that junky thing, was going to take it down to his junkyard. And so we just went over and got it. And we took the big block. He's got a big block and a turbo 400 transmission. We took them both out. So our big brother screwed us out of this whole mess. We done this odyssey of 3, 4, 5 hours, an all-day odyssey, dodging cops, changing tires, dumping crap. And our big brother took our spoils to the victor of the spoils. We were robbed of our RV because our big brother took the motor out and had the thing crushed. And we didn't get a single dollar. We didn't get a single dollar out of it.
Oh my goodness.
Well, you know what?
I don't even know if that's the story you wanted to hear tonight.
You know what, though? That may not be the best present you ever got, but it does sound like it was the biggest piece of
what do they say about beware of free gifts? Or what do they say? Beware of...
I don't know.
There's something, beware of free gifts or something. I don't remember what it said. But,
beware of those bearing gifts or something like that.
Yeah, maybe that's exactly right. Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
That does sound like a Cousin Eddie situation.
Yeah. I'm sitting here. I'm gonna dig on my thing right here and see if I can come up with at least the dude's picture. I don't know if I got the picture of the RV, but I know it should be in the background. But I know I got a picture of the dude somewhere here.
Well, that'll be great. We'll put that up on our Patreon page.
Okay.
Yeah, Patreon subscribers will get to see that picture. That'll be something.
Thank you for tuning in to this week's episode of the From the Shadows podcast. Until next time, never shy away from the darkness or what may be lurking in the shadows. We are out.